I'm going to tell you the one thing I heard last night that really upset me in this episode.
1 for 3 on the way.
Hello, guys, and thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. We have a lot of stuff to talk about on the show today, and there was something last night that I heard on the postgame show with Jim Coyle and Todd Leary. We'll talk about that. It was very kind of like upsetting to hear. We're going to try to solve a mystery and put our collective minds together to solve a mystery on this episode. We'll talk about that a little bit midway through this. And then we'll talk about, has losing at Indiana become normalized? And we'll talk a little bit about what happened in the Penn State game yesterday. It was not that much different than what we saw in the first game. If this is your first time joining me, welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. Sorry, I'm losing my voice, where the most passionate Indiana fans come to talk about the game. So leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought about the Penn State game. Tell me what you think about the program. Tell me stories about what you love about Indiana basketball, and we will talk about all that in the comment section down below. So subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. Join the rocket ship. We are on our way to 500 subscribers, and I will be giving away home field apparel at 500 subscribers. Just had a giveaway that he should be receiving his shirt here soon, Herbal, on Monday. Thank you very much to him for subscribing, and we have winners coming up all the time on this show. But let's get into the episode, and let's start talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. The one thing that really upset me when I was listening to the post-game show in my car on my way home from work yesterday was Todd Leary said on the show he has offered to give shooting advice and shooting practice to these players for free, and he lives in Bloomington, and he was told pretty much, I guess, like, you're not needed. Get lost. We don't need your help.
Can't remember who it was from, but it was somebody that said, come on, Todd, get with Coach Woodson and help them on their shooting. Like, I have reached out. Cynthia. I promise you, I've reached out and I have offered it for free. They're not interested. It's that simple.
That makes me kind of angry. And I get, you know what, people, coaches, whatever, they have pride. He said, my feelings wouldn't be hurt. His feelings are not hurt about this, but it's just the point that we have an awful shooting team. I mean, that is evident from what we saw the other day. We're awful at shooting free throws. We are awful at shooting from the outside. We are just awful shooters. Why not bring in, look at all the resources you have at your disposal at Indiana. Bring in Todd Leary, Damon Bailey, Brian Evans, Pat Graham. I mean, all of these great shooters from the past. Jordan Halls, I don't know if he is great at teaching shooting, but he's on the coaching staff as one of the, coaches that can actually be out on the floor. I just don't know how much actual, shooting coaching he does out there. We don't know that. But we do know that Todd Leary has offered his services, and he was denied by the coaching staff. So that's just something to keep in mind. I am not going to go on these rants about Mike Woodson. And today I've lost my voice. So it's just alarming to see that that's being put out there. And it just really, I guess, don't want to help, So there's a little bit of some stubbornness there or something. But the next thing, what I've heard, and I've been trying to figure this out, like by asking other people, but a player got pulled out of the upstairs pub screaming out, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Let's put our collective brains together as fans and try to figure out who was it. Now I feel like there's certain players and things that I feel like those players I've kind of exited out of, but I'm going to put a poll out in a little bit of who you think it was at the upstairs pub, and we'll see if we can figure it out, because I would really like to know. But this team, from watching the game yesterday, they are a bad shooting team, and they are also a bad passing team. And sometimes our passes, and I heard Marlo kind of echoing this in the assembly call, was that, some of our passes are good, and it's like we just have bad hands. Like, we can't handle a pass down low. I will say Renew played a good game, But some of his turnovers, completely head scratching. I mean, he had one early where he just randomly drug his pivot foot, really with not any type of tight defense or anything. It's just all of his turnovers were like completely unforced. And I thought that even though he scores a lot of points in this game, he does a lot of little things that really kind of hurt the team in a lot of ways. He also had just a couple of fouls in stupid spots. He's only averaging 28 minutes a game, Malik Renew, because he fouls out. He's fouled out of, I think, 3 of the last 5 games or something like that. So he's like one of your best players, but he can't stay out there. He only plays 28 minutes a game because he's just fouling out of games. There's just nothing to it. You just got to stay out there. The substituting patterns, I hear that from everybody. The substituting patterns are awful. And what we're seeing with Mike Woodson, because they had a more veteran team in those first 2 years, is that you see like this coaching staff is trying to figure out how college substituting works. And it's just not the same as it is in the NBA. In the NBA, it's like they just have set schedules of like when guys come in and out of games. And in college, you just got to do more button pushing and really figure out who's got the hot hand, who's doing this or that. You really got to like have your finger on the truth of like what's really going on out there and figure that stuff out. So we're watching a coaching staff that's really just trying to figure this out on the fly. I'm not going to go on and on about that he needs fired in this episode because it's going to be what it's going to be. Like at this point, I'm like, if he's going to be back next year, then you know what? We have 365 days of watching this crap till the next season's over with. It'll be here sooner than you think. So just start the countdown right now. It'll be like about a year if he's there. And I guess if they can't fire him, then or they can't push him out of there, then we just have to watch this for another year. I did put a poll out there yesterday. Do you think he can turn it around from the transfer portal? There were quite a few people that said maybe give him a chance. So I'm willing to hear those people. I think it was at 23%. We'll see where it goes on this poll. I love to put these polls out there and kind of get your take, the fans' vision of what they really think. And if 25% of people think that he can improve the team by next year, I can see this getting better for next year. Let's talk about this for a second, though. This team is too big. You cannot run a 6'8", a 6'9", and a 7-foot guy out there this day and age in college basketball. Beeline said that in the beginning, and I think he is one of the best college coaches that there's ever been. So Beeline saying that Indiana's just too big. They are just too big. This is bad roster construction. We just have big loafers out there, lollygaggers. That's what they are. And I love the scene from Bull Durham.
Sorry, it got wasted. Jeez. I don't know what to do with these guys. Beg, I plead, I try to be a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I don't... Huh?
They're kids. Scare them.
That's right. Scare them. They're kids. Scare them. They're lollygaggers. If you love this scene, give this video a thumbs up if you love this scene, and hit that bell notification so when I go live, then you will get a notification, because I've been doing some live shows here and there. Check those out. Today's episode is sponsored by nobody. So if you want to sponsor Indiana Sports Connection, email me at weeboyowza72@gmail.com, and I'm looking for a new brand deal on this show. So one podcast I've really been liking lately, and they've been putting some episodes out on Saturday morning, and I've been watching them, is with Watford and Derek Elston. It's great to hear two guys that played for Indiana in a very current time, like only about 10 years ago, but how they talk about Tom Crean, how they talk about the team, and some of the stories they were sharing on there. I would just really recommend checking it out. I love Watford's story he was telling about Tom Crean, and Tom Crean and him like really got into an arguing match where Crean was calling him lazy. So you want to check out that story on there. Those are awesome, nostalgic stories about Indiana basketball, and that's why I love to watch it, and that's why we love this stuff. So check that out. I just wanted to give them a shout out. And also, check out the channel. It's in the blood. He does live streams during the game. Sometimes I do go on there. We have a conversation on there. So that's really cool as well, channel to check out. But not too much to talk about more in the game. You know, like I could break down some individual plays in this game, but it's just to the point, like, have we normalized losing at Indiana? It feels like this season, like we're going to lose the rest of the games, and it almost feels like the players and the coaches just don't care. And that is when you know it's like really at rock bottom, is when you just have kind of the fans, and this is what I'm kind of feeling when I'm watching the games, is like, it's hard to really be enthusiastic about watching this group because you'll watch them make a few plays, and we were like 0 for on 3-pointers again, but you watch them make a few plays here or there, or they play some good defense here or there. Then you look up the scoreboard and you're playing Penn State and you're down 11, and that's just hard to take. The consistency of the team is just not there, and it's not building. And can he figure it out in the offseason? I mean, I don't think so, but you know what? We'll see. Woodson needs the type of players that are going to make their own shot. And Jalen Hood-Schifino was that kind of player, and that's why he was successful with the team last year, because you don't really have to coach that guy up on, you got to be here or be there. He could make it happen out there one-on-one, and that's what Mike Woodson's teams need. But we're too big, we're too slow, we can't shoot, and we're not bringing anybody in to help us shooting. So as far as I know, this is just going to be like this until somebody just sticks a stick in the spokes of this bicycle and flips it over. But until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.